highly. My safety is obviously not a concern of anyone here, nor the situations which make me unsafe. It is not my decisions that make me unsafe. It is my lack of options because of the term mentally ill, and because all of these places get money for things they're not doing. If this wasn't an emergency, but it's always an emergency because nobody ever does anything about it. They'll set up an appointment. I'll go to that appointment. How many times am I going to be victimized between now and my appointment? What are the chances of my things getting stolen between now and my appointment? And how seriously are they taking the evidence? They're not. Anyway, we're not allowed to smoke cigarettes on the property, so I'm going to go across the street with this. And then I got to come back and explain to them that they're, at this point, with somebody here to explain it to them. Somebody who actually cared to make the calls with me, not blow me off repeatedly. Like the people who get help, they're the ones who have a friend or family member who goes with them. Somebody like me, I got all of my stuff taken away from me because I defended myself against armed assailants. People who actually killed folks. Pardon me, wouldn't y'all be willing to sell a cigarette for 47 cents?
I don't have any.
That's all right.
Sorry.
That's okay. All right. Grab my camera. Take it with me. Thank you, man. Oh.
Hi there. Did you need to check in for an appointment?
I was just in here earlier for an appointment.
Yeah.
I don't have a friend or family member who can help explain this, and I tried to explain it to the best of my abilities. I'm here because I'm trying to turn in abuse that I've endured, and it's long-term abuse. And law enforcement and the hospital are doing everything they can to ignore any and all abuse against me. That's the reason I came here. That's the reason I was sent here. I was also sent to Tillamook Family Counseling Center, and they keep sending people at me at random to come meet me at weird places without any sort of warning to tell me they're busy and run off. I mean, I can't just keep being afraid until I'm stuck in one little tiny parking lot. I've been here for 6 months running to every service that I'm told to.
What's your first name?
Shawn, S-H-A-W-N.
And who'd you see today? Chris Kraft? Does that sound right?
Yeah, he was, there was a lady that I spoke to as well. I can't remember her name at the moment. It might be on the card.
Esther?
Yes, ma'am, I believe
sound
that's
about
it.
right?
Yeah, she's
Okay.
got the same name as a church lady I knew growing up, so it should be remember than that, but I guess it's not. I got an appointment set up with Nell Boggs on the 4th.
Okay.
The problem is that the safety issues have been mounting for months. It started off where I had access, where I could go to a lot of different places, and then that access is slowly cut off from me because of situations like Farnsworth and the, may I say it?
Yeah, absolutely.
With Mr. Farnsworth.
I know it's
sorry.
closer than it was.
And all the threats and the multiple assaults in front of me, and I don't have a place to process it. And I was trying to explain that I was forced into homelessness, but instead of addressing the fact that it was abuse that forced me into homelessness, that's really what needs to be focused on. I shouldn't have ever been forced to come to Oregon. The reason that I'm here is because everywhere else that I went, I was being victimized by the local population. And then when I go to the services that I'm told to go to, they want me to fill out a bunch of paperwork for housing, but then nothing ever happens. A lot of people just straight up didn't want to do their jobs. As far as the housing goes with people, I didn't have housing until I was literally forced. I had to break windows, ma'am, because people in Chapel, Nebraska were harming me. I was trying to turn in the local sheriff. Nebraska State Patrol was supposed to investigate the sheriff, but they didn't. They kept sending me back to the local sheriff every time people hurt me.
Have you talked to anybody here about it, or is that only been in Nebraska where you?
I was just in here trying to explain about it. The thing is that it's created a safety issue here. Like I said, I had access to all of the resources, but in running around all the resources I'm told to go to, I'm going to people that I'm told are supposed to help. I'm told to go to the churches. I go to the churches. I'm told I got to go to all these different agencies and call all these different agencies. I have to do this from my car. I literally cannot take care of myself. I'm stuck in a parking lot now because I can't come up into town because I have to be worried about Farnsworth or Molly. I can't go to the cops alone because I'm a disabled and homeless male. I didn't start off homeless. I was forced into homelessness because of crimes I didn't commit. As far as the housing things goes, I know that you guys don't give people housing. The problem is that I was victimized into homelessness, and I've never been allowed to show that. My evidence is over a lady's house named Vicky Rain. Now, she has multiple personalities, and she had herself a bit of an issue with that. And as a result, I had a bit of an issue with it because I'm scared of people. And I'm scared of my evidence getting taken. And I'm scared of people who have mental problems that I'm forced to go to for help because those are my friends and family. A bunch of druggies and a bunch of people with severe mental problems. Meanwhile, I don't do drugs, but that doesn't matter because anytime I try to turn in the police or the hospitals, I get treated like I'm crazy.
Right.
I'm not crazy, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah, I can tell you're overwhelmed. Have you tried going in town to like the DHS office last Thursday?
I have, ma'am. That's the problem, is that without friends or family, I get blown off. Nobody takes it seriously. I'm trying to turn in abuse and nobody takes it seriously. They pretend that I can't be a victim because I'm a male. I can't be a victim because I can speak English. This is so horrible.
Yeah, no, that's not fair.
I'm tired of being assaulted. I'm tired of having my life threatened. And when it became unsafe for me to go speak to the police, it was over a situation with Molly almost 6 months ago. Now, ever since then, I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off, making hundreds and hundreds of phone calls. This is not right. I'm a disabled adult. I can't defend myself against this. And for me to have to deal with threats, harassment, and intimidation by the police on top of it, that's not okay.
Yeah. Let me talk with my supervisor and see if there's anything that we can do or if there's anything that we can offer. And see what she says. Does that sound okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm just gonna step around the corner.
Yes, ma'am.
We're gonna see what we can do for you. 10/18 of 1980 is your date of birth?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, and here's the real guideline. They are eligible. We're up to 14 people in the household now. So you don't have to keep adding, figuring out how.
So she's gonna go talk to a couple people, see if we can come up with some situations. Did you find that over there?
No, it was on the next
Okay.
one over.
Yeah,
The lady.
that
gave
you're
it
more
to
than
me.
welcome to keep it.
ma'am.
And if you need help with any of that, don't hesitate to reach out. That's what they're there for.
Well, that's what I've been doing is reaching out. Instead of trying to kill myself, I try to turn in my predators. Instead of my predators get turned in, I get locked up as if I'm trying to kill myself by going to the police or by going to my friends and family or by going to any of the other services.
So you're originally from Nebraska?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you like it better, the weather better here or over there better?
There.
There?
Yeah, but I like the rain in Seattle better than I like the rain here.
Why is that?
Because what it does to Puget Sound.
It's beautiful up there. I was
It
just up
is.
there over the weekend. I get that.
I don't get to go hardly anywhere. See, when I try to turn stuff into the police, people don't understand that autism isn't a choice and that it's also not the same thing as being retarded.
No, it's
People
definitely
treat
not.
me when I'm punched in the face like I must be making it up because I'm autistic. When they didn't know that I was autistic, they'd say, "Hey, Sean, you're the smartest guy I know."
Yeah.
Once they found out I was autistic, it was talking to me like I'm a retarded puppy.
And that's not fair. That's not fair at all. That doesn't
It's
make
not.
you any different.
Well, what makes me different is that people make assumptions and they run with their assumptions. They don't bother with finding the facts. When my best friend got shot in the head, that's what all this instance was over, was her and her friends and family were stalking me for over a year, and I tried to get help. I went to my friends, I went to my family, I went to 3 different therapists, and I went to caseworkers, and all they were doing was having me fill out paperwork and waste gas to go to them every single week. I got to go to these appointments over and over again.
Yeah.
Nobody ever did anything about the threats or the harassment or the intimidation or the assaults.
Yeah.
And I still have evidence of it going all the way back to 2016. But
And these are just friends and family. It's not like any caregivers or anything that are doing this to you.
I should have had a caregiver, but that's the thing is that I don't have one. And as a result, I was abused heavily in the jails and in the prison. And those are technically considered my caregivers, but the problem is that was all over me trying to turn in cops who didn't want to do their job. See, I went to the mandated reporters I was supposed to. They blew me off, and then Natalie Bollinger got her brains blown out, and people wanted to blame me. I still take abuse to this day over it. I have to move frequently over it. I never get to get established, and then I'm told that it's my fault because I should have stayed somewhere where I was being victimized. I moved here from the Dalles. I moved to the Dalles from Hood River. The problem is, no matter where I go, because it's just me, people don't take it seriously, or they pretend that I'm able to do things that I can't do myself.
Yeah.
Like if they keep on telling me, "Oh, well, ride your unicorn into town, it'll be fine." I don't know where they're thinking I'm going to get a magical unicorn from. I live on planet Earth.
No, I understand.
My car out there is busted. I shouldn't even had that car. I shouldn't have had to move ever.
Yeah.
When I go to help from law enforcement or from different services, their idea is for me to move on or to move elsewhere. You know, if people are doing that to you, you just need to go elsewhere. Well, that's the reason I can't go to the churches.
Yeah.
They've got mandated reporters there who have been there for multiple situations where it's been violent or near violent and did absolutely nothing about it.
Have you been out to what they call helping hands?
No, I haven't. I had multiple places that I was being sent to, making calls to Helping Hands for me to repeatedly tell me there's no room, followed by about 11 different homeless people here telling me, "Well, dude, if you don't do heroin, you're not going to fit in up there." But it's the fact that I can't possibly make I probably have over 1,000 different phone calls that people told me to make that I was unable to the same places I've already called, obviously, but I can't just keep calling the same places over and over again or the same type of places over and over again for me to end up with more anxiety. When I end up with more anxiety, I talk more.
Yeah. No, I understand.
And when I'm scared, my words don't come together right.
that's what we're gonna try and do for you.
Yes, ma'am.
We're just trying to see what we can do and see what our care coordinators can come up with and find out for you.
I had 4 different people knock on my window, 3 different people knock on my window just last night alone. I had one guy who drove around my vehicle like 8 times in the parking lot over by the Tillamook Sporting Goods. I mean,
And do you know who that person was at all?
I don't know who the guy who was being a jerk with the turning the cookies until God knows when in the morning. I know one of the people that knocked on my window, her name is Candace, and she's I guess from what people been telling me, she's a local addict, but I help her out because I have food stamps and she has a son. So I don't give her money, but I'll get food if they need it.
Yeah.
And I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I'm not going to make a kid go hungry.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I got a lot of stuff with the kind of people that I have to interact with in order to utilize the services that are here, and many of them are scary. If I go to the services but my predators are there, what am I supposed to do? I get treated like I'm just not going to services, or I don't want them, or I'm not trying, and that's definitely not the case.
I can hear voices down here, so I'm just trying to see if it's anyone that's.
Well, I can't say that I hear voices down there, because if I do, somebody would pretend I'm schizophrenic.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all.
I think you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people who, when they've got a position of power, will abuse it and pretend like you're a nut job when they didn't do their job.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that do that, but there's also a lot of people that don't always think that way.
And there's a lot of people that don't know. That's one of the things with my friends or family. You probably went through that stuff as a kid too, or who are you supposed to talk to when you deal with a bully? You're probably not old enough to remember McGruff, though.
I am. I actually was bullied in high school. They said that they wished my mom had died, and my mom has been sick and almost died 9 times. So
Yeah.
I understand.
Well, I deal with that everywhere I go because my best friend got her brains blown out after her family pressured her to pretend I was a stalker. Her friends and family stalked me for over a year, and they weren't telling her they were stalking me.
Yeah.
So I got the evidence that they were stalking me, and I went to the people I was supposed to for help. You're supposed to ask the bully to stop, and if that doesn't work, you go to your friends and family for help. You're supposed to go to your trusted adult. If your friends aren't able to help, then you're supposed to go to your trusted adult, which is a teacher or a preacher or the school guidance counselor. I followed all of those, and they didn't work, and people were still harming me and still threatening me, and people still kept telling me, just ignore it, just ignore it. It's hard to ignore it when you're dependent on others because of your disabilities, and they cut you off from those people.
They were brainstorming. The appointment to Danielle though has to get changed,
Okay.
because that slot was actually supposed to be blocked. She has a meeting at that time.
Well, it's a good thing I came back in then.
Yeah.
And thank you for double checking that. A lot of the stuff that ended up screwing me over is clerical errors.
Yeah. No, I'll get you all figured out.
Yeah, that, you know.
Anyway, the point with Natalie is that after she got shot, all my friends and family members just basically looked the other way and pretended I didn't exist.
That's not good. Does a morning appointment work okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have an 8:30 or a 9 o'clock with Denal.
All right, when would that be?
It would be on the 18th of April, so a couple weeks out.
Ma'am, I'll be abused a lot between now and then. I'm living in a car that's now illegal. I don't have enough money to get it going. And there's a crazy lady who has all of my evidence, and I have no way to go get it safely.
Well, I mean, she's gonna be like counseling. That's what she does now.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
And that's the soonest I'm gonna have with her.
I know you know about CARE already.
I've been to Tides of Change as well. They blew me off. They did not take it seriously, and that's one of the issues with being here is that I've been filling out paperwork for people to get the billing. They all get paid for me going in, but they're not taking the situation seriously or the abuse seriously or my disabilities seriously. And that's one of the things where being a male very much stinks. There's 4 different agencies that actually will send you to Tides of Change. 2 of them are crisis, 3 of them are crisis lines as well. And they kept sending me to Tides of Change, and Tides of Change kept trying to push a bunch of stuff that doesn't get the predators turned in or the violence to stop. The lady that I was working with, her name was Tamara. She's different from the Tamara I worked with in Nebraska. The Tamara here was really nice, but she was very much not being helpful or useful in the situation. And I literally had multiple panic attacks there because of the fact that it's like I'm
That's at
talking out my
Tides.
backside about the abuse. Yes, ma'am.
There's no Tamara at Tides.
There was, most certainly. Tides of
I
Change.
worked at Tides of Change for 3 years, and I still go over there weekly.
Well, I have her recorded on my YouTube channel. She for surely exists. I've also got my,
Well, they've changed and they have a new director over there,
when did that happen?
and she's been there for 5 years now.
Well, I've only been in town for 6 months.
Okay.
So the lady that I spoke with at Tides of Change, her name absolutely is Tamara. She does work there, and the building is over block south of the Safeway.
Yeah, there's no Tamara there.
Well, then she must have quit. That's the name that I had, and I do have Tamara recorded. Her name is Tamara, the lady that I was working with there. So if she quit, that's something different, but there was a Tamara working there.
Well, I would try them again, because they're the ones that you're gonna wanna talk to if you're unsafe in your home.
I don't have a home. I was forced into homelessness.
Okay, well, you were telling the ladies that you felt unsafe in your home.
I wasn't telling them that I felt unsafe in my home. I said I was unsafe, period. I am unsafe. I'm stuck homeless.
Okay, well, that's not something that we can do as a health center.
What's not something you can do?
We can't help you with the homelessness as a health center. We can just give you resources for that.
You mean you can send me phone numbers to places that are going to send me on a wild goose chase? I've already been to Tides of Change. That's how I ended up here. These are all supposed to be mandated reporters. I go to them about abuse that I'm enduring, and instead of doing something to report it, I'm told to call places I've already called. I've already called Tides of Change. I've already been to CARE. It's overwhelming to keep sending somebody who can't take care of themselves and doesn't have the money to take care of themselves to all of these resources that do cost money. It takes me money and gas, and it takes me time to run around all these places, and I can't just keep doing that to be stuck on the streets. I'm on the streets because of abuse.
Would you like me to call an officer to talk to you about the abuse?
Well, that's the thing about having coming to an agency like this, is that's kind of the point, but it's also the fact that I don't have my evidence. It's over at a lady's house who misrepresented the situation, and had I known about her mental issues before it all got started, I wouldn't have trusted her with my things. But it's also how I've been treated by the police and other mandated reporters in this town. Without a friend or family member who's present, nobody's going to take it seriously, and nobody has. I don't have a place to sit down and go through all of the evidence that I have to even get it sent in. I'm stuck in a constant state of panic because I'm stuck in public, and I can't function because of that. I was forced into homelessness because my best friend got shot in the head, but it wasn't just her getting shot in the head. It was years of mandated reporters not doing their jobs, ignoring me, telling me to go to more places. It's been 6 years of me calling everybody that I'm supposed to, going to every appointment that I'm told to, and there's still nobody has helped me with any of it.
What would you like me to do?
See, that's the point. It's that I don't know what I can do. I don't know any of that. I know the legal resources and the stuff that I'm supposed to go through before something gets messed up. But once the police officers started, well, being as disrespectful as they were, it made it very scary to even speak to them. I came here because I was on my way to, I was sent to Salem, and I was sent to Eugene, and I was sent to Portland. All these places are supposed to help me because there's no resources in these small towns. And that's not true. There are plenty of resources for victimizing us. There's just no resources for helping us out. The problem is it costs more money to victimize us than it does to help us out. Meanwhile, all the resources that we're sent to, all of these phone numbers, all of these people are getting paid. But aren't they all supposed to be mandated reporters?
These people are not mandated reporters.
Yeah, that's what they told me. And that's also another one of the issues, is that I'm trying to turn in crimes that have been committed against me that resulted in me being homeless, being broke, being here in Oregon, hundreds of miles away from any of my loved ones. Meanwhile, I've had people threatening to kill me in Oregon before I even came to Oregon. There's also people who are trying to assist me after the situation with Natalie Bollinger, who are from Oregon, who went missing here in Oregon.
So what do you want me to do for you?
I need it to be understood that I am in an unsafe situation right now, and
I
leaving
understand that.
me on the streets is only compounding the safety issues for me.
I understand that. Being homeless is not something that I can do a mandated report for.
I'm not asking you to do a mandated report for me being homeless. It's the crimes that were committed against me that forced me into homelessness, and the crimes that have been committed against me because I'm homeless, including ignoring the fact that I was abused to this point. It's not just the homelessness, it's the abuse that forced me into it. Many of the things that I would be able to do if I wasn't homeless, I should have been allowed to do instead of being forced into homelessness.
Okay.
I shouldn't have been assaulted by police officers. I shouldn't have been assaulted by the public. I was assaulted at the hospital on January 28th of this year. I am still trying to get help turning that in.
Okay, well, what I can do is call for an officer and you can report this to him.
And if it's one of the officers who's taken part in the harassment before,
That you can request a different officer.
good, because I tried that at the hospital and they didn't do it. Instead, they let that officer sit there and intimidate me for the entire time that I was there in, what was that, August or September. I've been to the hospital here twice and they didn't treat me very well either time. I would like an officer here to speak with.
Okay. For you.
Thank
Give
you,
me a
ma'am.
minute.
And you said a morning appointment is okay?
Yes, ma'am.
How about Monday, on the 3rd?
Yes, ma'am.
Does that work?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
to request.
Do you remember the officer's name that you don't want?
I don't. There's actually 4 of them, and that comes down to several assaults that were committed, and their improper handling of it. That's one of the things that makes it scary to even go to the department. In a small department, they all know each other anyway.
Okay. So there's your appointment for Monday with Danilo, okay?
Thank
So
you,
we got
ma'am.
that rescheduled a little bit sooner for you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then we're gonna call and see what we can do for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you do 8?
503.
Oh, no, it's 8-1, yeah.
I know we're not allowed to smoke on property, but is it right if I go out to my car and step out onto the sidewalk?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
What's it saying?
8-1.
503. 815. We go on 8.
I know for a fact I have there it is, my tobacco pipe. I have a glass one, but I keep on burning my lips on it. Or burning my mustache, I should say. There's probably only 1 or 2 drags off of this, but it's still better than nothing. I am not sure what that second word means. Noichi? Night? Is that a Portuguese word for night, isn't it? Noichi? I'm not sure how exactly it's spelled. On the bright side, I got some cookies.
Because the hospital, that's why.
So unless it's mom or dad or something.
So it sounds like they're gonna be here shortly. It's just gonna take them a little bit to get here, but they
Okay.
should be here momentarily.
So from there, so if they want to see TC, but you say, I guess, it's not a good thing for the ID.
I know I'm not supposed to say I'm sorry, but I'm sorry about all this.
Then after that, you can see, return to drive, document type, photo ID, and then go ahead and hit index. I'm gonna get clarification on that, if you want to put THC photo ID. I don't think we should.
It's just TCH.
None of them.
So done that. So you can double click on that. If you wanna look and see it, it will show you there. Go ahead and get out of that. If you go to the chart. Do the equal sign. Oh, or is that go? And you go over to media, which you got your arrow down, which should be the media. Oh, is there something? Yes, sorry.
Oh, so if I wink at you, I'm not hitting on you. I have Tourette syndrome.
So, okay, I wanted to see if you could do it. It's pretty easy. I want to get.
Do you wanna see what the different one
So
looks
it,
like?
so that one said photo ID, so I don't, to me, I don't see. No, go back into the media one. That one's yours. It says photo ID, so we don't need to,
Yeah.
we don't need to add that in the description. So just TCCHC.
Yeah, and that's what dental's been putting in.
Yeah, and then mother or father, and you don't have to put what state it is, you don't have to put an ODL, you don't have to put a Mexico
We won't
license.
do that anymore.
So instead of taking a copy of their insurance, I'll just scan it in. Okay,
Insurance and photo ID.
okay,
Right now, you're just the one doing this, no
Yeah.
one else is set up for it.
okay.
The rest of
So
us will still be doing
you need to be careful,
Yeah.
and you need to make sure,
that you're only on that patient, and that you're only,
or you know, the insurance for a kid, it's, you know, just make sure it's right. So I'm gonna go tweak this a little bit.
slow and, you know, both sides. And that's why we're only doing one person at a time, because we're gonna add it to our audits, and we'll kind of audit and see how it goes, and then once everything seems to be going good and smooth, we'll kind of add it slowly to the next person, and then, you know,
So let's try this one. Let's say, go ahead and go into FDS insurance. Insurance, private insurance. There you go. Okay, so that's gonna be received.
That's what's gonna be hard to get used to is the receipt portion.
No, okay, yep, received, and then go ahead and hit scan. Seeing it's in there. So let's say that they bring in a copy.
I got do a sheet of paper.
Now hit scan, start scanning.
Oh, here I am.
You sure you want them in there?
Yeah, I'm agreeing. Are you sure you want me in here?
And then
I would have expected it. Yeah.
So go ahead and exit out of that, but yeah, so yeah. Same.
I share your contacts.
Yeah, so, yeah,
Okay.
so we'll take them and then get this to you guys and we can start.
So I check somebody in later.
Please.
yes, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, Crystal was gonna be our first person to get that, but
She's not here.
Yeah. So, yeah.
It seems pretty self-explanatory.
I don't feel like it's probably like mom, dad, whatever, just- you gotta really watch now. When you bring them in, you know. It's not supposed to, you know, because then once it's in that chart, I have to go
What do you mean
in.
by that?
At least if mom comes in and like all big work
And
and
she's
but
not on the
she's not.
child connection. Yeah, I make sure I look at that, cause I wanna make sure, cause I had,
So I have to go into the scanning on the inside, block it out.
yeah, cause yesterday I
got
had
it.
someone bring it and I was like, you can't check them in. So I had mom redo it. child consent.
Yeah, so, perfect. So once you get the hang of that, then you can, I'm gonna update those and you can share all the time that way.
yeah.
So that computer's set up for it.
Okay,
So if somebody sits there, they can use that.
Yeah, and then eventually, once we see everything's going good, we'll get another scanner and have it.
On the bright side, once you've gone through all the red tape, you've got enough time to help one person a month.
basically,
Yep.
it's
Uh,
not too bad.
I had a lot of the people that were supposed to do their jobs for me, like public defenders and stuff, tell me they're not gonna do their job because they have an overwhelming caseload. That's always fun to hear.
Yeah, it's not fun to hear.
It's also illegal, but they don't care who's gonna stop them.
Yeah.
They say, oh, well, I'm your attorney. I get special privileges. See, you don't get to record any of this. I'm like, oh, if you only knew.
Right. Well, hopefully here soon we'll get some answers and hopefully we'll get to something along with it.
Yes, ma'am. It's a really complicated situation, which is one of the issues. Another one of them is that I have communication issues because of post-traumatic stress disorder, which when I'm not, when I'm stuck homeless, I don't function at all. I can't. I try to, but
There's
it's,
just a lot going on around you.
yes, ma'am.
I get that. I understand.
That's one of the things about autism is that safety and support networks are important. It's important to prevent the crimes from happening to begin with, rather than trying to do something about it afterwards.
Right.
I did try that, but my friends, they just remembered me as being really smart. They didn't realize that I wasn't perfect, and then when they realized I was not perfect, it was like, oh, you're trash, goodbye.
Yeah, that's not fair.
There ain't nothing in life fair.
My nephew, he's autistic, so I understand completely.
I'm sorry for him.
He'll be 7 next week, and he's very, very smart about math. That's his jam. Everything else he does not care about.
For me, it was math, science, and history.
There you go.
Although I was good at everything in high school, I just sucked at the daily work.
Yeah, he doesn't like doing the daily stuff. He doesn't like just sitting in class. If you give him like a math worksheet or something to do with math, he'll sit there all day and do it.
Yep, me too.
So, yeah, no, I understand.
I don't understand why they took Legos out of all the therapy offices. That fixed so much stuff.
Legos are the jam. I still play them with my nephews.
Oh yeah, and I can play with Legos and still talk. That's a multitasking activity.
Absolutely.
One of the things that people kept on trying to do when I went to them about people threatening to kill me and my family and assaulting me and all that is they wanted to distract me with stuff like, oh, well, Sean, why don't you watch a movie? Why don't you find a hobby? Why don't you stop missing your friends, basically?
That doesn't solve everything.
It doesn't. And when you're a disabled adult and you're supposed to go to your friends or family members when something happens because you're so prone to being blown off or taken advantage of, you are dependent upon them, and they don't get that. They don't understand how important it is, or how just them being in the general area prevents me from being victimized the way I otherwise would. Or if somebody tries to get mad at me because I winked at them, if there's somebody who knows I have Tourette syndrome, they can explain it immediately, and that saves me from getting beaten up.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're not seeing me during a severe mental breakdown, but also I think it sucks that I don't get to be who I used to be before I hurt my back. Like once I hurt my back and I was no longer able to do favors for people, like all of a sudden I was friendless. All right. Yep.
Yeah, just one more question. It says that you have to consider several things. Okay, so I just go and look and scan it.
I'll be right back in. So, housing is only part of it, and they don't help with housing. But I need to turn in what they keep forgetting, roadblocks, just to talk. I'm explaining it to them because those roadblocks are all created by crimes committed by others. Every situation where I was forced to do something against the law, it was forced. The protection of myself and my loved ones needed to come first and foremost. Since those people wanted to mess with me, but not come forward, what am I to believe about them? Police often talk over the victims, try to make the victim feel as if it's the victim's fault. Or they'll try selling a false narrative over the top of the victim speaking. I hope my Oreos aren't contraband. Gentleman saw me over here eat my Oreos. Well, eating the creamy center of the Oreos anyway. They did reschedule me for a day earlier instead of rescheduling me for the 18th. But, I want some tobacco. So that's my current and present goal. Smoke me some tobacco. So, you need the housing. Is that why you went into there? I do need the housing, but no, it's not why I went into there. It is in part, but the thing is that I need emergency housing. What they want to do is have me fill out paperwork for a list that's 5 years long. Literally 5 years long. Most of the people that'll be on that list are older folks, and a lot of them are going to end up dead before they ever get into a place.
the things that were done to me prevented me from having my rights observed. What the hell's going on there? Alright, I did something apparently. I don't know what it is. It just won't go away. It's some filter thing. There it goes. Great how they are training here right in front of you. Actually, it is. It helps me to learn a little bit about what they're doing, about how there's somebody in the office who is the only person who's working with that program, about how everyone else is going to have to work with a different program, and hopefully they'll end up getting some cross-training in, much like in the submarine service. I hate smoking tobacco out of an aluminum pipe. Makes me look like a friggin' crackhead. Which sucks, of course. One lady said there's no camera there. Thank goodness I have the recordings that show there is a camera that works the tides of change. So that lady who used to work there is misinformed, which does happen. Sometimes when you leave a place, they hire somebody else. It happens. Now, if this Tamara lady doesn't work at Tides of Change, then why do I have her recorded from inside of the Tides of Change building? The other thing is, if they're not mandated reporters, why am I being sent to them? Oh, that was effective. Fuck it. Goddamn, that was smart. Oh, do not balance on a broken toe. That shit sucks. Just saying. I guess I had to end this video and start another one since this one's over an hour long. Wish me luck.